I've just got a few questions to go through with you, Mark, just to see your feel on how we are with the housing crisis and housing in general. So do you think there is a solution to the housing market, or is the question itself flawed?
Yeah, I think the whole question of the housing crisis and the solutions to the housing crisis fundamentally come back to a pretty simple solution, which is that you need to build more houses. If you go back to the Barker report of '03, Kate Barker identified that you needed something around in the order of 250,000 new homes or completions every year, just to keep pace with demand at that time. I think it's sort of generally accepted that that number hasn't changed that much. But ever since then, we're in 2018 now, so pretty much 15 years ago. Ever since then, we've been way below that number in terms of the number of houses that have been delivered, or the number of properties that have been delivered every year, new builds. So, the numbers have sort of dipped right down, sort of 08, 9, 10. Picked up a bit now, but we're still not at that level. So, how do you build more houses? Well, successive governments have said that they're going to do that. The Conservatives have sort of said, even in recent times, that they're creating, new funds and, new schemes in order to do that. But what seems to happen each time is that they offer new money or they create a new scheme, but it is usually just a drop in the ocean. It's not enough money. The scheme isn't big enough. It doesn't go right to the heart of the problem and create a sort of a real shift. It's sort of tinkering around the edges. Often they're just trying to score political points, and they don't seem that committed to actually creating enough housing supply, which would then mean that this sort of theory of the housing crisis subsides. I think it is also a question of the type of properties and in which areas as well, because we think of the UK as a property market, but the reality is it's like a load of countries, within a big island. The north of England and Scotland, they're like a completely different zone with a completely different set of rules from central London. And yes, there is clearly a shortage of property in central London, but I don't know if you went out to sort of the valleys in Wales, I don't think you'd find the same issue or to the same extent and the same pressure on housing, pressure on rents and capital values. So I think it's about creating the right homes that people want to live in the right areas, probably government taking the issue, genuinely taking the issue, and putting enough money in it to actually solve the problem rather than create headlines in newspapers.